Thank you for joining me this evening or morning, whenever time you're looking at this. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. I'm going to open up Word 2016, and it's going to pull it open, and we'll drag it over here. As you see, this is the usual screen. You're going to see RSUVAC at WGU.edu. This is your account. Now, if you may notice or not notice, the APA style report shows up here for me. If you don't have it or it doesn't show immediately available for you, here's how you get to it. APA in this little search bar and enter. Get the APA style paper format, and classic double space. You're going to go with the APA style 6th edition and click create. Now, I'm a two-time alumni here at Western Governors University, so I'm going to say this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say I'm from Western Governors. I should put an S in there. I have a master's degree. I should know how to spell. And say Robert Joseph Suvac Jr. This is my full name, and I'm going to say blah 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 task implementation of something. Because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, even when I don't care enough. And so I'm going to say the shortened title up to 50 characters. So this template already creates the problem of, well, I don't have to use this, but I can use it, but I don't have to use it, right? Well, here's how this is useful. It will lock you to 50 characters. So I'm going to say, I want to eat seashells on the seashore. And it will do that, right? It'll bring it all the way down here. So, you know, the running head is the running head. Great, 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 great. We're good. So we have the abstract, we have keywords. We can write our keywords separated by commas. So we say eat seashells, seashore, Western Gov. Here we go. So we're going to create our abstract if we want to, but that's something I would do later. But if you notice, I have the navigation pane open. So I'm going to go ahead and close that so to show you how this is pulled up. So this is going to be the Control and F. And it's going to pull up results, pages, and headings. You click over to headings, and you have abstracts. You have implementation. You have heading 21, heading 3, and it all stems from here. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5. And it will bring it down into subheadings, and you can go ahead and delete these areas, but it won't delete the side portions because it's not going to actually change anything here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete all my references out, right? Just to show you the power of this template. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete all this too, because a lot of times we do not have to use these things. You can, and if you want to, those things are there for that purpose. So now I have this blank page, right? I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this blank page out. Come on. Sometimes it can get a little hung up, but that's just Word. That's not the template. And so I'm going to say I'm going to just ignore these extra pages because this does not usually happen. I'm going to say insert, page break, and I'm going to say references. And I'm going to, if you see, I can choose my bibliography. I can choose a bibliography. I can choose references or works cited. As we're using the APA template, we're going to be clicking references. Everything is already created for you. It uses the hanging indents portion. Okay, but now I have to go put it in. Joseph, how is this really helpful? Well, I'll tell you how it's helpful if you just hold on a second. So I'm going to go here and I can see insert citation. I can click the insert citation for blah, 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 last name year, last name book title year. And so I'm going to say I want a citation for a book, and it's written by Pearson. Pearson Publishing APA book. Or Pearson Publishing, that's who created it. Title is the APA templates. And the year is 2025 or 2023, 2025. I'm going to say it was written in Chicago, and its publisher is Pearson Incorporated. And just put Pearson. My mind's not working enough right now. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete these two things used, right? Because this is actually used in there, I cannot delete it. So it makes sure that it's there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete out this citation because it's not actually a real citation. And then now I can delete it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create more from my little repository here. And it keeps it to use against different papers. So if you're writing more than one paper for a class, and you have to use the same single works cited all the time, you just have to go and click copy and it will bring it over. Okay, so great. Now, Joseph, how is this helpful? Well, this is where the fun happens. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to left click this, and sometimes that doesn't work, so I have to click references again and it will populate this. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add another source. So I'm going to say I want the American Association of Physician Leadership in my paper too. And I'm going to say update, and it's going to put it in there. So you can see how this is a helpful little tool just for keeping track of your works cited. Okay, but how is that really helpful? How does that help me? Well, say I did this, blah, 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 and I need to cite. You don't have to cite it more than once because there you go. You have the American Association of Physician Leadership. You don't have to say it every single time. So I'm going to say it like this, blah, 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 and then American Physician Leadership. You can say it over and over and over again as much as you need to, and you don't have to retype it. So that's how handy this little tool is, and I like this little template because it will help you out. And if you really want to get down to the rubric level, what I like to do is I like to go to the review column, and it's kind of grayed out here because of my my account settings. I'm currently in the process of graduating, so I lose this bit. So if I just switch over to my HCA Healthcare accounts, hopefully that should work. Sometimes it'll get hung up, but there we go. So we're going to say new comment. We're going to say this is my rubric, right? This is what I'm going to do. So every single time I want to reference that rubric, I can show it in a show comments file, or I can just have it off to the side just in case I want to view it quick-handedly. There we go. So I did this for every single one of these in my papers. I just went and said heading 1, show comments. Okay, I'm gonna go write my content. Cool, done. And I would go in and get it done and get it done and get it done. Then I come back, write my introduction, and edit my abstract, submitted the paper. Now, another thing that's really helpful to know is options. You go to language. So people usually use things like Grammarly to keep them in a proofed paper so that they don't have to keep checking themselves over and over and over. So if you go to proofing in the word options file tab, you're going to see, it's going to bring you up here, you're going to see proofing, settings. You click every single one of these things. You can use a first person, and you can go in and check the paper for use of the first person. So I'm going to say I went to the pizza parlor at J Street at 6 p.m. So obviously right off the bat, it's going to say that there's something wrong. So I'm going to have it say, okay, change it. Then it's going to say, use the first person, consider revising. So it's going to tell you that you messed up. Hey, you messed up here. So I'm going to say, ignore it. And it's going to keep going and checking everything else. So I'm going to say, and it'll choose repeated words, anything else, and you're good. And then you don't have to keep going through it. Sometimes it'll get hung up, but usually you can just copy paste it into another document and you're good. You don't have to keep redoing it. So I hope that this was helpful for you to learn what you needed to do to get the most out of your paper writing experience. Happy writing.